This is J. Krishnamurti's first discussion with teachers at Rishi Valley, 1985.
There's a word in English language called deliberate. I'm sure you know that word. The root meaning of that word is librare, to weigh. You know the, what you call that? Zodiac. You see the way. Balance. Huh? Libra. It means really, the root meaning of that word is libra, to weigh, to balance, to take counsel together, to think together, to find out also what is the right. That word contains a great deal of meaning. Deliberate, a deliberate action, a deliberate thought, a deliberate move, which means a considered, careful, weighing, taking counsel together, not just one person talks. So, if we are to go into all this, I'm sure you are aware, I'm not patronizing, that the world is in deliberate going down the hill, degenerating. And also there is a great deal of pollution in the air, except not here. And also there is great corruption all over the world. And as educators, as people who are concerned with all this side of life, what is it we are going to do? Facing all this degeneracy, pollution, and corruption. The word corruption comes from that and so on, rompere, to break apart. All right? Am I communicating something? To break apart. That exists in the world more and more through nationalities, trade, so-called culture, and the various linguistic, religious divisions right through the world. Not only social, business, priestly class and all that, but also religions, everything is breaking apart slowly. That is corruption. Degeneracy, you know what's happened to all of us. And also this pollution and so on. So facing all this, what are we to do? As educators, I'm not going to talk to myself this. We're all going to share in this, in our discussion. So what are we going to do? You spend a great amount of energy, enormous energy, in having to deal with students, little boys and little girls. And what is the end result? What are we all doing? I'm asking myself that, I'm not asking you alone. This is really very, very, very serious question. Don't please be depressed by it or feel down and out. What are we doing? Not only in Rishi Valley, rural science, that's a very small affair. As human beings, living in this world with a great deal of fear, insecurity, uncertainty. I'm not exaggerating, please. And as human beings who are fairly educated, fairly civilized, considerably knowledgeable, what is it we are going to do? Facing all this, facing your own children and the children of others, what is our action? Not merely as educators, but as fathers, mothers, and the rest of humanity. Am I conveying something? Yes? I'm asking you, sirs, a very serious question. We're going to discuss this together. I'm not going to talk all the time. I'll do that either in Madras or in Bombay, which I've just done in Benares. So, this is a conversation together, a deliberation together. We are taking counsel with each other, weighing things, going into things deliberately. So don't, if I may most respectfully suggest, don't leave me to go on talking, because I'll stop after a little. It's no good sitting in silence. Either we sit in silence or we talk together. I can do both. So will you probably. So, as human beings, not as teachers, not living in Rishi Valley with all its problems like water and so on, so on, so on. As human beings, we are confronted with this issue. It happens, unfortunately or fortunately, this K has talked to a great many scientists. Great many so-called philosophers, psychiatrists, businessmen, politicians, and all the crooked world in which we live. Not all of them, I haven't talked to all of them, but some of them. And when you put them this question, a very serious, a deliberate issue, they back out of it. You understand? They don't want to think about it. We say they leave it to the philosophers, to the educators. We have nothing to do with it. Are we in that position? that we have nothing to do with the future, what happens. We have nothing to do with what is, if I had a son, what is he going to face? Not a good job. I'm not talking about good jobs and becoming a captain, soldiers and ministers and all that. Appalling business, sorry. But as human beings, with all our problems, sex, am I allowed to use that word? Sex, pleasures, and our own conflict, ambition. You know what we are. And now we're going to, if we have children, am I going to bring him up or help them to educate, to meet the world? Or are we only concerned academically? Good first class academics. Or we're not only concerned with top academics, first class academic standards, but also something far greater than that. I do not know if you ever considered, if I may bring this in, they have just discovered in Jerusalem, Israel, in digging a house 8,000 years old. You just see the stone walls. And India also is calculated 8,000 years old or older. So there is India. Of course, China is, they say, 40,000 years. We don't know, but we all like to exaggerate a little bit here and there. So 8,000 years old India, Israel 8,000 years old, and Athens comes much later. Seeing India, I hope I'm not anti-Brahman or pro-Brahman, so I'm all right. Am I in the safe company here? One wonders, I've asked this question, the Prime Minister, the Education Minister, what's his name, Narasimha Rao. Oh, they're all peculiar people, sorry. A culture, a Brahmanic culture, which has imprinted India very, very, very strongly. What has happened to that culture? However wrong, however right, however true, however false, what has happened to it? You understand my question? 8,000-year-old culture, very strong. It wasn't just a feeble culture. Its footprint was very definite. The sannyasi, you know the whole business of it. What's happened to it? Is Western commercialism taking over? Please do pay little attention to it. This is all a very serious question. So I'm asking myself, and I'm sure you're asking yourself, I hope, what's the future of these students and us? What is the purpose of all this? You understand? If I have money and good fortune to be chosen as one of the students here, 7 out of 1, what are you going to teach me? Mathematics, geography, physics, science, chemistry. You have to do that for me to face the modern world, which is stinking. You have no idea how serious all this is. You're going to teach me that, right? You're bound to. And my brain is conditioned from the very beginning, from the age of 5 or 4 or 3, to have problems, right? I wonder if you understand this. Right, sir? My brain, as a small child or as a student, it's a problem to write, right? It's a problem to read. It's a problem to add 2 and 2. So my brain becomes the center of problems, right? It is, the brain has been engendered, nourished right from the beginning to have problems. This is what you are doing, aren't we? No? And for the rest of my life, till I die, I have problems. I can never solve them because my brain is conditioned that way. Right? So, problems after problems. My God. You understand, sir, what it means to live this way to the end of our lives? I won't go into all that. So, what are we as grown-up educators? What are we going to do? Facing all this, not just A and B. Don't look at me. So let's talk over it together. Start the ball rolling, sir. I don't know if I may repeat all you have heard. I was invited to go to Los Alamos. You know what that is? There's the National Laboratory of America. 900 top scientists in New Mexico. I was invited. I don't know why. I was invited. And the first question they asked for me to talk about was, if I remember correctly, what place has creation in science? You understand my question? You understand my question? What place has creation in science? I said none. They rather take back. I said, creation is not invention. Invention is based on knowledge. No. And creation has nothing to do with knowledge. That took a whole hour to discuss it. Mind you, they are top scientists of America. And the next day they asked me to talk about what place has meditation in science. They're very damn learned people, those are. And they handed me a series of questions, 15 questions. First question was meditation and science, and similar questions, 15 of them. And the last question was, if you were the director of this place, what would you do, knowing you have to consider the safety of the country, the responsibility placed upon us, the laboratory, national laboratory, that we have to protect the people, we have to invent new machinery, new submarines, new mathematics, new computers, etc., etc. They are doing all that. Knowing all this, what would you do? Now, I'm putting this question to you. What would you all do? Don't look at me, please. Look at me. I said, Kay said, you can't ask this question at the last moment, on the 24th hour. We must start right from the beginning. That is, right from man, the origin of man. I won't go into all that. I just play with for a while. What is life? You understand? What is life? Not what's the origin of life. The tree dies, grows. We have babies, so on. What is life? Not the way of living. You understand, Makuli? Life. Sorry, I won't go into that now. Don't mind. So what's your response to my statement?
It seems it's really it's difficult to see things clearly.
Yes.
To begin with.
Now, how do you see things clearly? I want to see very clearly what you see. I want to understand very clearly the words you use, the gestures, the face. How do I look at you? How do I hear you? Have I prejudices against you? You understand? Oh, I met you, he's so and so. I've already made a background of have a background of you. And that background prevents me from seeing things clearly, seeing you clearly. Can I be free from that background, however useful that background may be, to look at you, to listen to you, to see what you mean? That's a word we push him aside. I've talked to him, he's a nut. I'm not saying you are. Can I do that, sir? Can we do that? Are we so filled with our background, with our experiences, knowledge, and so on, that we can never see anything clearly? Come on, sir, discuss. Don't. Ladies are supposed to be great talkers. Sorry, not you. Ladies en général.
It seems to be too large an issue to face when one talks of the corruption in the world, the breaking up of everything. How does one face it at all? Because
Are you breaking up everything?
in a sense, if one is part of it, yes.
Yes. I'm not being personal, sir. Why? Bangalore, Rishi Valley, Madras, Rajghat, leave us alone. Sorry. Are we doing this? And why? You don't mind my talking about this? Sure?
Sure.
You can kick me afterwards. Why do we do this? I've just come from Rajghat, Benares, public meetings, all that stuff. And there is Rishi Valley, Bangalore, Madras. Why this? I'm not talking geographically or the distance, but why this constant breaking up? Leave me alone. I'm doing something, experimenting. I'm not criticizing. Right? Please, I mean it. I am not criticizing. I'm just looking at all the world. You understand, sir? Why does this happen? Is it security? I wish you would talk. Is it security that each one wants?
Also fulfillment.
Huh?
Certain amount of fulfillment. Fulfillment.
Fulfillment, which is part of security, part of. Perhaps I'm using a word that includes a lot. So, fulfillment, ambition, wanting to do something, and please don't interfere. Is that what is happening in the world? Because Rishi Valley is part of the world. Bangalore is not something in a distant island. Right, sir?
Yes, sir, of course, that's it.
So I'm asking that gentleman over there, why are we doing this? Why is the war all around you? You understand, sir? You understand, sir? Why is this happening? Tremendous armaments being built up. I don't know if you're aware of it. On television last year, I think it was on the 4th channel in England, the manufacturer of armaments was saying, 80% of our production goes abroad. You was getting up and saying that on television.
So are you implying that when I try to find fulfillment in something I'm doing, it is directly related to the arms race?
Yes. So I want to find out. See, all those ladies, why they?
So,
They talk an awful lot, all right, don't they?
So they're just shy.
Huh?
They're just shy for the first
We are
time.
shy.
For the first time.
So am I. You may not think so, but I'm a shy, rather retiring person. So if you don't join me, I have.
No, I wanted to ask, taking up from Radhikaji's question, saying that a certain amount of fulfillment need not, to my mind, need not lead to separation unless I feel that my fulfillment is threatened by the other's involvement or
There is conflict.
unless I
No, but he's implying something more radical, that even whether it conflicts with somebody else's or not, this seeking of fulfillment will inevitably lead to. I think he's saying something more radical.
I don't understand what you are saying, sir.
No, I was, you had said a bit earlier why the separation of, various things.
Why if I'm married, why I'm separate from my wife? I think differently, she thinks differently. Her ambition is to become governor, and my ambition is to be something else. Why this? You understand? This constant breaking up, which is the beginning of corruption. I don't know if you follow what I mean. The word corruption, as I said, comes from the Latin rompere, which means to break up. Never a whole, but always breaking. And one of the things Radhikaji said, fulfillment. Fulfillment in what? We use that word very easily. Fulfilling in what? Fulfilling my desire, my pleasure, my sense of righteousness. You understand? What do you mean by that word fulfillment?
So doing things, solving problems,
Huh?
doing things, solving problems, creating situations, institutions that will be recognized by people.
That means what?
That work,
But
that
that-
are good in themselves,
Go-
and that will be recognized.
Go to the root of it. What does it mean?
So, being in a situation, there are problems. These
No,
things as
I
problems.
want to know what you mean by the word fulfillment. Fulfill, right?
Yes.
I want to fulfill what?
So I see myself as having certain talents, and I see a problem.
No,
And
you
I
have a
see a
talent.
solution.
No, you create a problem.
So no, so
No,
there are
if
objective
wait a minute,
problems.
I'm a good chemist. PhD from New York. Where? Some awful little place, right? Or big place. And that gives me a sense of position, power.
Eventually, that's the outcome
No,
of the
wait.
achievement.
My ambition says I must, right?
So it can be mixed. It can be
These
more
are,
mixed.
go
there.
step by step. I'm asking you, what does that word mean? Fulfilling what? Money, power, status. Those are the three things that count.
But sir, it doesn't have to be so crass. It may be something a little more
Subtle.
subtle.
But money is never subtle.
Money may not be subtle, but
Power.
admiration,
I-
vanity. Yes.
Well, all the people who have power,
see,
money, are all that given to me.
I think the implication is that there is a fulfillment in good work.
Good work,
Yes,
all right.
you
Fulfillment.
justify your life.
No, I am asking you, what do you mean by fulfillment? You don't answer that question. I
A
know.
feeling of having done something.
Yes, righteous, wrong. I am asking you what you mean by the word, and you go around it. So please, ladies, have,
A sense of satisfaction at having achieved an objective.
yes, sir, that's understood. Having, being gratified because you have achieved that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but what? And then from that you have something else.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And you keep the circle going till you die. Not you, sir. You're not answering. Fulfillment implies a basic, deep desire to do something.
Yes.
Would you say to that?
Yes.
Deep desire,
Yes.
a longing, a feeling.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Krishnamurti, would it also imply the very word fulfillment, a sense of lack of completeness?
Lack of
Completeness in oneself.
that comes from, yes, sir. That's what I want to get at. You follow? Why do we feel the need for fulfillment? You understand my question? The need, not I must fulfill. That sounds so cheap. Sorry. The need for fulfillment, which implies an emptiness.
Yes. Exactly.
That's it. And a sense of
Yes.
nothingness inside. I must fulfill. Right, sir? Would you say? Now, why do I feel so empty inside? I've got all the money, good wife or ugly wife or a mischievous wife or a very talkative wife. I won't look at them. And so on. Is there something beyond this emptiness? You understand? This emptiness in me says I must fulfill, I must do. But I'm asking, is there something beyond this that's much more? I won't go into it. So would you please discuss with me something? What we've been talking about. You spend your energy enormously. You have no idea how much energy you spend each day. And that energy is consumed by your students, and the students are consumed by society, right? Right?
And by us.
Of course, that's understood. And also you expend tremendous energy, right, sir? What for? What for in relation to the world, not just. So I'm asking, is it possible? Please I'm just asking this question. Is it possible to bring about a totally different human being. You understand? Not educationally. More knowledge, more independence, more this and more that. I'm not talking about better human being. I'm not that. Something entirely holistic human being. I don't know. Gosh, you're all so silent.
Why did you say, sir, non-educationally?
What?
When you bring it about non-educationally, you said...
Oh no, you can't use the non-educational, become then a savage.
So not as a result of a whole process.
No, I want to find out. It takes a little time, right? I want to find out if I'm going to spend 30 years of my life in the educational field at Rishi Valley, I ask myself, is the material good enough? Material, you understand what I mean? The student, the parent, grandparent, is it good enough for me to expend that enormous energy on that boy or girl? Or, wait a minute, or am I demanding something which I am not myself living? I don't know what you comprehend.
Yes, sir.
That raises totally different question. I won't enter into that for the moment. Somebody said to me, God, sir, what you say is so true, why are you wasting your life on this? Nobody listens to you. Look at it. They come here out of curiosity, another nut from the east or west, another those, because K happened to have an Indian name, therefore say he must be something odd. Here, a crazy person becomes a saint. In America, they put him in an asylum. That's all the difference. So, I'm asking you, please talk to me, won't you?
Sir, we don't ask these questions.
Ask them now.
Okay.
Ask them, sir.
The question of what we, this transformation of the student.
No. Because transformation means to transfer the same being. We are talking not transformation, but total revolution. Not communist, not socialist, not democratic republic, etc. But the human brain, which has existed for 2 million years, has evolved in the sense it has evolved, but it is still the savage, right? Still the cruel, brutal, self-centered, all that. We haven't evolved from that. Understand? We killed a man with a club, now we can blow off millions, evaporate them, nothing remains. And that's called progress. But we haven't changed very much. Right? That's all. So please, I'm asking you not to depress you, not to elate you all. We have got to face this problem in life. I expend lots of energy in a school. as an educator. Immense, incredible amount of energy. And at the end of it, there is this terrible society. He has to be married, or she has to be married, and begins the whole problem of sex, children, and the mother is a slave to the child for 5 years. You understand, sir? To have money, you have nurses and all that. So, what are you all doing? This is not a depressing question, please. On the contrary.
Sir, I think it is not the wastage of energy when we spend so much time with students. Even though the students, they may not receive anything, suppose, but in this process, we are learning something in our lives.
Yeah.
So it is not a wastage of energy.
I see. What are you learning?
Learning about ourselves.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
How long will you take?
No, it is learning. It has nothing to do with time.
No, just a minute, sir. Oh, yes, it has. Forgive me. So, hasn't to do with time? You say there's nothing to do with time. Hasn't to do with time. Learning, I learn one day this and I learn another day that and keep on adding, right? Right, sir? Would you agree to that? Keep on adding.
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
Yeah.
I do not agree with that.
No, go ahead, tell me.
Learning is always in the present.
What?
It is learning as things are happening.
Yes.
You be aware of it.
What?
You be aware of it. You be aware of it.
What is happening
Yes, yes,
within you.
you are aware of it. And this becomes an argument. We're not arguing, sir. We're just investigating. What do you mean by learning? This is a general question, sir. What do you mean by learning? I don't know anything, but I'm adding. What? I'm learning. I don't know 2 and 2 make 4, but I'm learning, right? Right, sir? Right?
That's what is usually
No,
known as
I'm
the-
coming to that.
Yes.
This is what happens, sir. Not usually. This is what is happening in the world. I don't know chemistry, but I'm learning. Which means I'm memorizing. Right? Would you agree to it? Hey, what's happened to all of you? Are very old.
There's another learning in human relations. So when you feel something and you say, okay, I've learned something, meaning probably I won't repeat this mistake again.
Which means what, sir? Careful, careful, careful.
You are sensitive.
And also, when you say it won't happen again, it means what?
Something new has taken place.
No, sir, just look when you say it won't happen again, what does it mean?
That I have learned from it, and I'm carrying the knowledge to the future in order to apply it.
Yeah, which means what? Learning, as far as we see now, is a continuation of memory, increasing more and more and more, memorizing. It won't happen again.
You're not telling yourself that it won't happen again, it's a feeling.
It's a feeling you tell your wife, your father, your mother, or your child. But it's still, when you say it won't, you have determination. I won't go to word. I'm not speaking words. Gosh. Sir, please answer my question, would you? What is learning? There are 340 boys, girls. You are teaching them to learn, right? No?
Yes.
Why are you all so silent? What's the matter with you? Aren't you teaching them to learn?
Yes.
What the heck is the matter with you? There's nothing wrong. So you're teaching them to memorize, right? What you call learning is memorizing.
It could also be a sense of discovery, sir.
Yes, sir. It may be discovery. For the moment, just look at it. It may also mean a dozen other things. But I don't know how to read and write. You send your daughter to the school and she copies. A hand is held and draw. A, B, C, or O, or whatever you do. Which is you are guiding her hand, helping her to practice, helping her to memorize, to follow that line exactly, right? Which is becoming a problem to me as a child. Say, I want to go and play. No, so, learning has now become a process of slow or rapid memorizing. Be simple about it, sir. What are you all objecting to this? Huh?
So because part of us thinks that it's a little more sophisticated than just this
Yes,
rote
yes,
repetition. What
The greatest scientist is part of this. Memorize. Unless he's got great log of memory.
Yes, and things fall into a new pattern.
Gosh, why do you object to such a simple thing? Huh? Right, sir? Kabir, what do you say?
I was only wondering, sir, to come back to what you said earlier. What are we all doing here?
Yeah. But you don't answer me. If I send my child to you, I want him to be good at academics. Otherwise, in present societies, he's destroyed, right? So, please give me that first, right? Then, I say to you, make him more, you follow, something much more than becoming a BA, PhD and all that nonsense. You must have all that nonsense, but make him something much more. Can you? That's all my question. Help him to become a holistic human being. Right, sir? Not good.
So
Good.
I have a problem, sir.
No, answer my question first. Sorry, I know you have a problem. Hold it, please, sir. Will you, the people who live here, who are responsible for educating my son, I said to you, please, sir, I don't want him to become a glorified clerk, which is the governor. I traveled with one of them. Glorified governor, or a glorified prime minister, or whatever it is. I want him to be an extraordinary human being, holistic, feel, be sensitive, be alive, look at the birds. And you follow? Think of something much more than bread and butter. And I say, please, here it is. Don't experiment on him. He's a human being. Like you, don't say you must do this, you must do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. So, how will you bring that about? That's my question.
I think the way you are beginning it,
Huh?
the way you have put the question,
Huh?
the way you have put the question, make my child an extraordinary being. If you come to me, I would say, look, I don't know what this extraordinary being you are referring to.
So what are you going to do?
So let's find out.
How long?
How long what? I
Don't fool around. How long will it take? Another 10 years when the boy becomes cynical, already joined a gang and all the rest of it?
So what do you mean? But extraordinary, I mean, you can't put pressure on me. How long?
Look, old boy. What happens to, you must have noticed this, boys and girls up to that certain age are very clever, smart, alive, watching, asking questions.
And also in contradiction.
Huh?
And also in contradiction.
Yeah, of course, a child.
Yes, but you must say that.
He's a child.
Yes.
At a certain age, the whole thing goes.
Yes.
Why?
The idea of
No,
responsibility.
no, why?
I'm telling you why. I watched it.
God, I'm asking you, sir.
Because, sir, partly because we have not shown him any alternative.
What?
He has never known anything different.
No, I'm not asking anything different, darling. I'm asking you. You must have noticed,
Yes.
boy and girl, reach a certain age, gone. Right? Suddenly becomes dull. Suddenly becomes totally unaware of things. He wants to become the Prime Minister or the Chief Secretary or the Governor or big business. You follow what I mean? The real thing is gone. Why? You never ask these questions.
Because we have not drawn his attention to the real thing.
It's not there as it was.
But when it was there, or if it was there,
Yes,
we have
I'm
not.
taking it for say if it was there.
If it was there.
I've talked, wait a minute, I've talked to those children for the last 20 years, 30 years. A couple of boys get up and very smart, bright. I say, come and sit down. They sit down beside me, we talk and all this. I come back next year, the same boys are totally different. Oh, the girl, why? Is it puberty? Is it glands? Is it? You don't seem to inquire into this.
Because they've conformed to something.
Yeah. Why do they want to conform? Which they last year they didn't.
So because they are getting older and there's the pressure of the
Is
adult
there a
world.
way? Just a minute, I asked several biologists and all the others, professional top people. I say, is there a way of preventing all this? Or is it inevitable? Or is it natural course of things? You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Find out. Let's.
So there are a lot of pressures on children to conform.
I know that, sir. At the age of 12, 13, they don't even know anything about that.
But they pick it up.
What makes them pick it up? What makes them feel all this?
So because they have no alternate feeling of anything, and we don't give them that alternate way of feeling.
I'll question all your statements.
So then,
Because you are finding excuses.
no, sir. Otherwise, why should it become almost an inevitable course unless you have an alternative? If they saw an alternative which was as vital as the pressure,
then give an alternative.
But sir, we must give the
Give me an alternative.
So then that's the problem.
Give me.
Do I have an alternative?
Don't talk about it. Give me an alternative route.
Exactly.
Instead of following the same old road.
But so how am I going to do it? Not by lecture.
Don't ask how. That's the worst thing you can ask. Then you... Can we inquire into this?
Yes.
You're all teachers, you're all dealing with children, you're all bored, strained, annoyed, all the rest of it. Is there another alternative? The present is this, right?
Yes.
Same old bananas.
Yes.
I'm saying, is there another way of approaching the whole thing?
And sir, may I add to that? And can I convey to the child sufficiently vividly that he is drawn naturally into that way?
I'm sure you can. If you have the stuff in you. If your brain is bad, you can never be followed. Are these meetings worth it? Ladies? Don't smile. Are these meetings worth it? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, yes.
What have you contributed to it?
So, when we ask, isn't there an alternative? We are also asking, isn't there an alternative to knowledge?
Oh yes, there is.
Not in the sense that there shouldn't be skills and so on.
No, first of all, sir, we have followed this road for 2 million years, right? And we have so-called evolved along that road. You come along and say, don't be so damn stupid. There's another way of doing all this. Will I listen to you? Will you listen to me?
Not unless I can make it palpable.
No,
Yes, sir.
there's no profit in this.
But
Now careful.
there is no profit, so...
There is no, please, this requires no motive, no profit, no position, no totally different from this.
Yes.
Not different. Different means opposite. It is something away from this. Will you listen to a man say, look, there is a totally different way. Will you listen to him?
So first I will look at him to see...
Yes, look at me.
I might listen to you, sir.
Because you like my face.
So that's...
Like the man said.
Sir, I have a small confusion. From what you said earlier, it seems that, just as you drew a line here, man has gone for 2 million years and then you come and tell him, take this path. From what you said, it looks as if the child up to a particular age who is alive is on that path, and it is subsequently that you bring him back into this. That is, we bring the child back into this 2 million year old.
Or it's a glandular change. So you must take everything, sir. Don't just...
A biological.
Biological. And if it is biological, can we? I said that. So I asked this question by origin, all the rest of it. That they don't know. You understand? Probably they never even asked that question. Please, would you mind? I have to stop. Do you like this kind of meeting? Huh?
Yes.
Nobody says anything. Why? Why do you like this kind of meeting? Well, I'm talking most of the time.
So for us, it starts an introspection.
Huh?
It starts an inquiry and an introspection.
Antagonism?
No, inquiry and an introspection.
Perhaps it's antagonism.
It really, at least helps us or me look into the matters that you raise. I needed you as a catalyst.
And that's why I'm asking you, sir. Is it worthwhile going on with these meetings?
I would say yes.
So there's no doubt about that, sir.
Huh?
There's no doubt about that.
Ask them. All the men on one side, all the women on the other. God, you still are Indians, aren't you?
We'll surprise you the next time.
Tomorrow, when we next meet, you're all mixed up, right? Not all the men on this side, like the zoo. When shall we meet? Well, you arrange it, I don't know, you tell me.
Children's talk in between.
Yes, sir.
Maybe, but
You
if
arrange it,
change it,
you arrange and tell me. Is that enough for today?
Yes.
Bombardment? This to go, great many scientists, great many blah, 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 right? I talk to ministers, prime minister, all that rot. And they kind of say to me, oh, I want to learn a great deal from you. Next moment they're telling me about Rig Veda.